Alright, lock in. Slow down for a second. Just breathe. Because most people never stop long enough to think about where their life is actually going. They're busy, scrolling, reacting, busy distracting themselves from their uncomfortable truth. They know they're capable of much more, but they keep choosing comfort instead. I'm a pilot in the UK looking for my first flying job, and today I'm talking about mindset over motivation and building the man nobody sees. Your life doesn't suddenly change one day. It shifts quietly through the choices you repeat when no one else is watching. It's the decisions you make on a daily basis. Because mindset isn't a hype. It's not shouting affirmations in the mirror. It's not pretending everything is fine when it's really not. Mindset is all about what you do, and that motivation, the outburst of energy that you feel, suddenly disappears. Because motivation is up and down, like a roller coaster. Most people are waiting to feel ready for some kind of confidence, for the perfect moment. But that perfect moment doesn't exist. And confidence is actually not a requirement, it's a byproduct. You don't wake up confident. You earn confidence by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and you actually do it, your mind takes note. And that's how self-respect is built. And every single time you quit on yourself, your mind takes note on that too. And that's how self-respect is destroyed. Be honest with yourself. You know exactly where you're wasting your life. You don't need motivation to see it. You feel it every night when the noise stops. Most people spend their entire lives running from that feeling. You can't afford to, because comfort is expensive. It costs you your future. Nothing is coming to save you. No breakthrough, no perfect moment, no sudden clarity. Just time passing by, whether you act on it or not. And every day you delay, you train yourself to accept less. And that's how people disappear without ever failing. They just choose easy over and over again. Your mind is not your friend. My friend, you want comfort, you want shortcuts, you make excuses that sound sort of reasonable, but if you let your feelings decide your actions, you will lead a weak life. Now, discipline is the ability to act without negotiating with yourself. No debate, no delay. You either do what needs to be done or you simply accept the consequences. You don't need confidence. Let me say that again. You don't need confidence. Confidence comes after effort, not before it. You earn it by keeping promises when nobody else is watching. And every promise you break teaches your mind that your word means nothing. And a man who doesn't trust himself has already lost. Stop romanticizing change. Real change is repetitive. It's boring and it can be very uncomfortable. It doesn't feel powerful while it's happening. It feels like showing up tired, training alone, working without the recognition from your friends, your family. If you need to feel good, you won't last. Your habits are your real beliefs. It's not what you say, not what you plan. It's what you repeat day in, day out. Because you don't rise when life gets hard. You fall to the level you've trained for. And most people haven't trained at all. Pain is unavoidable. You'll suffer either way, whether it's through the pain of discipline or through the pain of regret. Now, one makes you stronger, the other one keeps you awake at night. So choose carefully. You don't like time, you're wasting it. You trade your future for short-term relief, scrolling, distracting yourself, and comfort that's disguised as rest. Then you wonder why nothing changes. Understand this clearly. No one cares about your potential. They only care about your output, your action, only what you do consistently. That's what matters the most, because it shows, it's evident. The world doesn't reward intention, it responds to execution. You will feel alone, and that's normal. Growth separates you from the version of yourself everyone was comfortable with. Our silence is a big part of the process. You can't sit alone with your thoughts. You're not ready to lead yourself. Lower standards feel good in the moment. Higher standards hurt, but in the long run, they pay dividends. Then they become your identity. You stop forcing discipline. It becomes automatic. That's when things change quietly. Stop waiting to feel ready. Readiness is a luxury you can't afford. Action comes first. Remember that. Clarity followed. Now, movement creates belief, not the other way around. You don't need extreme routines. You need unbreakable ones. Simple, repeatable, and that's non-negotiable. Wake up, pray Fajr, Tahajjud, train, work, learn, sleep, and repeat again and again and again. It's going to be boring. But that's where success lies. There'll be no applause, no moment where it suddenly feels worth it. That's not how it works. The reward is becoming someone who doesn't need motivation, someone who does what needs to be done because that's who they are. One day this will be easy, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Until then, accept the weight, carry it daily. This is the price of self-respect. No one is coming to save you. Let's be honest, you don't lack information or the opportunity, you simply lack the consistency. That's not an insult, it's most clarity, because clarity gives us something to fix on. You don't need a new routine. You need to stop breaking the ones you already have. You don't need inspiration. You need to set the standards for how you wake up, standards for how you train your body, standards for how you use your time, standards for how you speak to yourself when things get hard. Here's the hard truth. Your mind will always look for the easiest exit, and that's how it's designed. That's how we're all designed. So if you let your feelings decide your actions, you'll live a small life. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's choosing what you want most over what you want now. I know it's not easy, but neither is living with regret. Every version of you that you admire is built on things you currently avoid. Early mornings, repetition, boredom, failure, silence, loneliness. The work isn't glamorous. It doesn't feel cinematic. It feels ordinary. But most people never stick with it. They want transformation without monotony. They want results without the process. But the process is the point. It's in the process that you find your purpose. Let me tell you something more important. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your doubts and your habits. When life gets heavy, you won't rely on motivation. You'll rely on what you've trained yourself to do automatically. That's why your habits matter more than your intentions. You don't become strong by wishing for it. You become strong by doing hard things consistently. And there'll be days you don't feel like it, days you've tried, you're frustrated, you question whether it's even worth it, and those days matter more than the good ones, because anyone can show up when you feel good. Character is built when it doesn't. And every time you push through resistance, you're rewiring your mind, your brain. You're teaching yourself, I do what I said I do, even when it's uncomfortable. Now that's powerful. Now understand this, no one is coming to save you. Not your friends, your family, not any algorithm, no luck. That's not depressing, it's supposed to be freeing. Because if no one is coming to save you, then simply the responsibility is all yours. You have full autonomy, control. Once you accept that, you quit complaining, you quit waiting around and blaming people, friends, family, circumstances, because you start adapting. Your past doesn't disqualify you, your setbacks don't define you, but repeating the same excuses will. Growth begins the moment you stop lying to yourself. Not aggressively or harshly, just honestly. Where are you wasting your time? Where are you choosing comfort? Where are you avoiding effort? Look at those things, fix them. You don't need to announce it. Real progress doesn't seek validation. When you change, some people will feel uncomfortable. Not because you're wrong, but because your discipline highlights the lack of it. Don't look for applause, look for alignment. If your actions match your goals, you're on the right path, even if it feels lonely. Loneliness isn't always a bad sign. Sometimes it's a signal that you've outgrown old versions of yourself. Growth requires space, and space feels empty before it feels peaceful. Stay the course. You don't need it to be extreme. You need to be consistent. Small wins stack. Daily effort compounds. Momentum builds quietly. One good day becomes a streak. Streak becomes identity. You stop saying, I'm trying. Start saying, this is who I am. That's when things change. Let's talk about patience. Nothing meaningful happens fast. If you try to rush the process, you'll skip the lessons. And without the lessons, you won't be able to maintain the results anyway. Be patient with the progress. Be ruthless with your effort. Show up, do the work, simply repeat the process. The mind will test you again and again. Let's say you deserve a break. You can do it tomorrow and no one will notice. But you will notice. And that's the version of you you're trying to build, is watching every decision. So act like that version is already here. Ask yourself, what would the disciplined version of me do right now? And simply do that. You don't need perfection, you need direction. Maybe redirection. You need to keep moving forward, even if it's slow, even if it's not perfect, even when you doubt yourself, because forward beats being stuck every single time. And one day, maybe you look back and you won't remember the nights you scrolled longer or the days you chose comfort. You remember the moments you pushed through, the routines you kept, the standards you refused to lower. And that's when it clicks. This wasn't luck. This wasn't talent. This was pure mindset. Built day by day, brick by brick, choice by choice. Don't wait. Start now. Start tired. Start unsure. Just start. Keep going. Only look back to see how far you've come along the path that you're on. Be bold, be courageous, and be you.